Okay, class, for problem 42, picking up where we left off last, I took the liberty of solving this problem here. What we had to do was take 4 into 15, we put our decimal and brought it up and put 3 zeros here. So we took 4 into 15, which went 3 times. 3 times 4 is 12. 15 minus 12 gave us 3, and we brought down our 0. 4 goes into 30 7 times. 7 times 4 is 28. 30 minus 28 left us 2, and we brought down our 0. 4 goes into 25 times. 5 times 4 is 20. 20 minus 20 is 0. So we didn't need to go to the third place behind our decimal. So our answer here would be 3.75. Now we know that 3.751 is greater than 3.75, so we put our greater than symbol. And just for a reminder, remember, this symbol always points to the number that is the lowest. It always points to the lower number. Now, we scroll down here. We want to write 5/8 as a decimal. So we would take 8 into 5, and we'll put a decimal, let's say about 3 zeros here. Bring up our decimal. 8 goes into 5 0 times. 8 goes into 50 6 times. 50 minus 48 is 2. We bring down our 0. 8 goes into 20 twice. 20 minus 16 is 4. We bring down our 0. 8 goes into 45 times. 5 times 8 is 40. So we will have 40 minus 40, which is 0. So we're done. And our final answer is 0.625. Now remember, whenever we change it to a decimal, we either go till it terminates or we go until it repeats if it does not ask us to round. So now with 44, it says write as a decimal 8/9, do not round. So what we would do is we'll take 9 into 8, and we'll put a decimal. Let's put 3 zeros here. 9 goes into 8 0 times. 9 goes into 80 8 times. So 80 minus 72 is 8. Bring down our 0. 9 goes into 80 8 times. Now if you notice here, we're going to keep getting 80, and it's still going to be all these repeating 8s. So our final answer would be 0.8 with the repeating decimal bar over the 8. Remember, you only put the repeating bar over the number, over the first number before it starts repeating. So since it's going to have all repeating 8s, we find that first 8 and put the repeating decimal bar over it. Okay, now we come down to problem 45. It said write as a lowest term fraction 0.16. Now remember, we look at the last place value of the last digit behind the decimal. So this place value is 100. So our denominator would be 100. And we drop the decimal. So it would be 16 over 100. Now they want us to write this in a lowest term fraction. Now we could do our prime factorization. 16 will give us 2 times 2 times 2. And 100 we did before, which is 2 times 2 times 5 times 5. These 2's will simplify out, and you will be left with 4 over 25. And that is the lowest term fraction. Now we scroll down here to problem 46. It says listed below are person A's artistic impression scores for the long program of the women's figure skating competition. Find the mean, median, and mode. Round to the nearest tenth. Now looking at problem 46, we want to find the mean, median, and mode. Now what I would suggest you do first before you do anything is to list the numbers from the smallest to the highest. So what we have here is 2 5.6s. We have 2 5.7s. We have 3 5.8s. And we have 2 5.9s. Now, I'm going to explain to you why I wanted you to list it from the smallest to greatest. Now, It'd be easier to find the mode and median. You could find those much, much faster if you put these in the correct order from the smallest to the greatest. In order to find the median, they must be organized from smallest to greatest. You can't find the mode and the mean without it being listed from the smallest to the greatest. But look here with the mode. You could easily see which number appears the most, which happens to be 5.8. That's our mode. Now we go to our median. We have 9 numbers here, so all we have to do is go to the 5th number, which happens to be 5.8 as well. Now with the mean, we have to go through a different process. I showed the work down here. We must first add up all of the numbers and then divide it by the amount of numbers we have. So when we add up all of these numbers, it gives us 51.8 for our numerator, and then our denominator is 9. Now we must divide this out. Now it asks us in the directions to round to the nearest tenth. So that means that we need to go to the hundredths place to see whether we round the tenths place up or leave it the same. So first we say 9 into 51 goes 5 times. 5 times 9 is 45. We cannot subtract 5 from 1, so we borrow 1 from this 5. That makes it 4, and this 1 becomes 11. 11 minus 5 is 6, and 4 minus 4 is 0. We bring down our 8. 9 goes into 68 7 times. 7 times 9 is 63. 68 minus 63 is 5, and we bring down our 0. Now 9 goes into 50 5 times. 5 times 9 is 45. We borrow 1 from the 5 and make this 0 a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5, and 4 minus 4 is 0. We can stop here because we want to round to the tenths place. Now since this digit here in the hundredths place falls in that 5 to 9 category, we will round this to an 8, and we will use the approximation symbols here, and that would be approximately 5.8. So our mean here is approximately 5.8. Now going back here, now this isn't a usual occurrence where your mode, median, and mean is all the same thing, but it's possible. So the mode is exactly 5.8, the median is exactly 5.8, and your mean is approximately 5.8. And we're done with this problem. Now we scroll on down here to problem 47. Now with problem 47, it says evaluate by hand. Do not round your answer. Okay, so now we take 0.2 parentheses squared. Now we know we could go off to the side here and drop, you know, that'll be 0.2 times 0.2. So we'll drop the decimal. Well, let me write that. That'll be 0.2 times 0.2. We'll drop our decimals and we add 2 times 2 is 4. But we add 2 digits behind the decimal, so this would be 0.04. So we add 0.04 plus 2.7 all over a negative 0.2. 0.04 plus 2.7 we know would give us 2.74. Now we could go off to the side and line them up. We could do 0.04 and 2.7. We add them together. We bring down our 4 here. 7 plus 0 is 7. Bring down our decimal. 0 plus 2 is 2. That's how we get 2.74, and it's all over a negative 0.2. Now we know a positive divided by a negative is going to give us negative. So what we could do is this. We will set this up. Now I'm going to have to do something that I normally don't do. I am going to push this down here a little bit so that we will have enough room. Alright, now we come back here, and what we do next is this here. We would take this negative, or we could just write down 0.2 into 2.74. Now we have to move this decimal 1 place to the right and this decimal 1 place to the right. So we have 2 into 27.4. We'll bring up our decimal. 2 goes into 2 once. 1 times 2 is 2. So that's 0. We bring down our 7. 2 goes into 7 3 times. 3 times 2 is 6. 1, we bring down our 4. 2 goes into 14 7 times. 7 times 2 is 14. So we have nothing left. So our final answer, remember, up here, we will have a negative. So it'll be a negative 13.7. We cannot forget our sign. Now, we scroll down here to problem 48. It says evaluate. We have negative 8h squared minus h for h is negative 0.3. So we go through and substitute. You add negative 8, and in parentheses you have negative 0.3, and that's squared, minus, in parentheses is negative 0.3. Now, negative 0.3 in parentheses squared, we know this is going to be positive. So we'll basically have off to the side here, it'll be a negative 0.3 times a negative 0.3. And we could drop those decimals. 3 times 3 is 9. And we know it's positive because negative times negative is positive. And we had 2 digits behind the decimal. So this would be 0.09. So now we have negative 8 times 0.09 minus a negative 0.3, which is plus 0.3. Now, we could take 8 times 9, drop that decimal. That gives us 72, and we add 2 digits behind the decimal. And we know this is going to be negative. So it'll be a negative 0.72 plus 0.3. Now, since they have different signs, we know we're going to subtract. But what we could do is this here. We know that 0.72 is larger than 0.3, so we know our final answer is going to be negative. So we could do this. We could say minus 0.3 and put a 0 here. 2 minus 0 is 2. 7 minus 3 is 4. Bring down our decimal and our 0. So it'll be a negative 0.42. So that is our final answer for problem 48. Now we come to problem 49. We have 4.4 is equal to 10x plus 8.2. Now we need to get x by itself. So we will subtract 8.2 from both sides. And when I say both sides, I mean across the equal sign. So on the right side here, we would be left with 10x. Now here we know our answer is going to be negative because 8.2 is bigger than 4.4, but we need to go off to the side here. So we'll take 8.2 minus 4.4. We'll borrow 1 from the 8, so that would be 7, and this 2 would become 12. 12 minus 4 is 8. Bring down our decimal. 7 minus 4 is 3, so this would be a negative 3.8. Now, we have to divide each side by 10 to get x by itself. And now these 10 simplify out to 1, and 1 times x is x. Now we come here at negative 3.8 divided by 10. Now whenever we divide by our power of 10, that means we go to the left at many places. As many places as we have the 0 here. So that means we would need to go to the left, 1 place to the left. So it'll be negative 0.38. So that is our final answer for that problem. Now, problem number 50, we're about to start that. We need to get y by itself. So first we would start by subtracting 5.4 from both sides. Seems like my 4's are not coming out correctly. So we have 1.3y is equal to, since both of these are negatives, we can add them together. 3 and 4 is 7. Bring down our decimal. And 6 and 5 is 11. So it'll be a negative 11.7. Then our next step would be to divide each side by 1.3. And we will finish this up in the next video.